The alarm stopped screaming the moment they opened the door, and that was when everyone realized the hatchlings weren't gone at all. They were breathing. Soft, rhythmic, impossibly calm. All 7 of the galaxy's most dangerous newborns were curled up on the chest of one human man, their ember-lit scales rising and falling with his heartbeat. None of us were prepared for the truth. For 3 weeks, the universe had been holding its breath. The restless Dragon Hatchlings, classified as Class-Theta Stellar Predators, had vanished in the Aurelian Crèche, a vault so secure it orbited inside a dead star's gravity well. These were not myths or metaphors. They were living weapons of thermonuclear biology, creatures whose ancestors once cracked moons for territory. Even as infants, they radiated enough energy to melt steel. When they went missing, entire systems locked down. And the panic wasn't just about destruction. It was about prophecy. Dragons, the Aurelian Concord warned, were not meant to sleep. Not like this. Search fleets scoured nebulae. Oracles burned themselves blind. The Crèche keepers whispered of extinction-level omens. And then, quietly, embarrassingly, they traced the anomaly to a maintenance habitat bolted to the underbelly of the station. Habitat 12B, human quarters. But that was only the beginning. My name is Elias Rowe. I was born on a flooded Earth that no longer exists on most star maps. I fix things that don't want to be fixed. Atmospheric recyclers, grav plating, old alien tech no one else wants to touch. I was never supposed to matter. The day the dragons found me, I was asleep. I'd worked a double shift recalibrating the Crèche thermal regulators. The eggs were overheating again. Nothing unusual, just another alien system designed without a human margin for error. I remember lying down, exhausted, my chest aching with that hollow ache that comes when you've lost everyone and keep pretending you haven't. Then the warmth came, not burning, comforting, like a campfire on a cold night I barely remembered. What I didn't know, what none of them understood, was that dragons don't just sense heat, they sense resonance. Heartbeats, grief, the quiet, steady promise that something will stay. And I had nothing left to leave. When the Crèche alarms finally pinpointed the hatchling's location, a strike team arrived armed for war. Plasma nets, null fields, psionic dampeners calibrated to shatter developing minds. They breached my door expecting carnage. Instead, they found me lying on my back, shirt half burned away. 7 hatchlings draped across me like living constellations. One was curled beneath my chin. Another had wrapped its tail around my wrist. The largest slept directly over my heart, its glow dimmed to a soft, breathing gold. No scorch marks, no radiation spikes, just peace. What I saw next changed everything, Commander Vera whispered, her 4 eyes wide with something dangerously close to fear. Because when they raised their weapons, the hatchlings stirred, and every targeting system on the station went dark. Dragons don't attack without reason. They respond. The Aurelian scientists would later call it imprint bonding, a once-in-a-millennium anomaly, a catastrophic oversight. But in that moment, all anyone knew was this. If they harmed me, the dragons would wake. Fully. So they did the unthinkable. They lowered their weapons. But that was only the beginning. I woke up to a council chamber filled with beings who could end civilizations with a vote. I was wrapped in a thermal cocoon, my skin traced with faint golden lines where dragon fire had brushed me without burning. They asked me questions for 12 straight hours. What had I done to lure them? What tech had I used? What pheromones? What frequencies? What forbidden human trick? I told them the truth. I was just tired, I said, and they were cold. The chamber fell silent. Dragons were never cold, except one ancient archivist revealed, during their first sleep cycle, a phase lost to history because no dragon had survived in over 10,000 years. They usually burn themselves apart. Restless, alone, until now. The midpoint revelation shattered doctrine across the Concord. The dragons hadn't escaped. They had fled from isolation, from sterile perfection and careful observation, and a galaxy that feared them before they ever opened their eyes. The crèche was safe, but it was empty. No heartbeat, no warmth, no presence willing to stay when the fire dimmed. They chose me, a species barely tolerated, a man with no rank, no legacy, no power, human, and that changed everything. The backlash was immediate. Some worlds demanded my execution, claiming I'd compromised galactic security. Others wanted me dissected, convinced humans possessed a latent empathic weapon. The crèche keepers insisted the bond be severed, for the dragon's own good. That was when the hatchlings woke, not in rage, in defense. They encircled me. Tiny wings flared, eyes blazing with stars. And through a resonance that bypassed translators and logic alike, they projected a single, unified emotion into the chamber. Fear, not of us, of losing me, the oldest dragon in existence, a being who had slumbered since before Earth formed oceans, stirred from hibernation to witness it. When it spoke, the station shook. Do not take, it rumbled, what they have chosen. None of us were prepared for truth. I didn't want to be a symbol. I didn't want to be a bridge between species, or the center of some cosmic realignment. I wanted to go back to fixing broken machines and sleeping through the night without dreams of fire. But when I tried to leave, the hatchlings cried, a sound like collapsing suns. So I stayed. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The dragons grew, slowly, safely, curled against me as they slept, their restlessness eased by something no technology had ever provided. Presence. The scientists observed. The politicians argued. The galaxy watched. And something unprecedented happened. The dragons didn't burn. They dreamed. The final crisis came without warning. A rogue coalition, terrified of a future where dragons bonded with humans, launched a sterilization strike on the station. Their logic was flawless. Kill the anomaly. Preserve the balance. The first missile breached the outer hull. The station began to die. I remember holding the hatchlings as emergency lights flickered, feeling their fear spike like a blade in my chest. I whispered to them. Nonsense words. Old Earth lullabies my mother used to hum before the floods came. Stay with me, I said. I've got you. And for the first time in recorded history, the dragons answered. They rose as one, not in fury, in protection. Fire wrapped the station in a shield no weapon could penetrate. The missile strike vanished into harmless light. The attackers fled, broadcasting surrender across every open channel. In that moment, the galaxy learned a new truth. Humanity didn't tame dragons. We stayed. Afterward, the Concord rewrote its laws. Dragons were no longer weapons or omens. They were citizens. And humans, fragile, stubborn, emotionally reckless humans, were recognized as something new, anchor species, those who could remain when others pulled away. I was offered titles, worlds, immortality treatments. I refused them all. I stayed in Habitat 12B, now expanded into a sanctuary, my chest still the first place the dragons chose to rest when the universe grew too loud. Sometimes, late at night, I'd feel their warmth and think about Earth, about loss, about how staying had once felt like weakness. I know better now, because the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy learn how to sleep on a human heart, and the universe has never been the same.